Who's banging their microphone? Is it me?
I've been hearing it the whole time, and every time I think it's actually you, Shane.
Yeah, I don't think so. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of 5 Idiots Talking Toys. I'm Shane and we're here with our Sunday episode for toy collectors here on YouTube or your favorite podcast app. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all the socials. You can go to 5idiotstalkingtoys.com for all of that info. We are on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I don't know. We're not on Snapchat. Snapchat missed me. I'm too old for that. But here we are, ready to talk about the collecting hobby. We focus on Star Wars, but we love all the toy lines from back in the 80s and 90s. Let's jump into it. The boys are here. We have Brandon Alamo, Christopher Weilminster, and Lord Johnny Walden. Don't call him Johnny unless you're close personal, long-time friends. How many more years do we have to be friends with John before we can call him Johnny, do you guys think? It's been
Probably,
like
never.
2. Never. Oh, never. We're never gonna make it there.
No, you called him Jonathan last time, so
yeah, I know. Thanks for that.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
Usually, any person that says the word cowl, I usually don't consider them a friend.
he's like, my name's not Jonathan, it's Johnson.
Johnson.
Big Johnson Walden.
Big Johnson.
So, guys, we recently had a fun trip to Nashville, Tennessee, out southwest, I call it. I always forget how west Nashville is. I keep thinking it's just south.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's in a different time zone than I live, and John lives, and Chris lives. Yeah. So Charles and Chris and I have to head southwest to get to Nashville, cross the time zone. And man, I had fun with you guys. That was a lot of fun meeting up with you on our yearly excursion. Lots of laughs and some interesting conversation. Charles is going to join us hopefully tonight as a roving reporter on this topic. We'll see how that goes. But great to see you guys. Great to see a lot of the viewers of the show who both we got to hang out with.
Oh, yeah.
On multiple levels. But a shout out to all of the viewers who came up to us and greeted us and had nice things to say to us about the show or what they liked or, you know, what their favorite episode was or what we do. That's funny. And it was just so great to talk to people. So thank you very much, all of you, for your support of the show and going out of your way to come and say hello to us when you saw us in Nashville.
It actually is like very humbling when people come up to you and like you have no idea who they are. Mm-hmm. And they're like, we watch you guys every weekend. You guys are so funny. I love your show. And I'm like, it makes me actually feel really good. Like we're doing something important.
Yeah.
I appreciate the feedback, you know, like what works, what doesn't work, you know, because we don't know until
we hear
it. So,
you know, I know some people are like scared to tell us things that they may like and dislike, but we want to hear it, especially when the guy Matthew said that he hates the eBay episodes.
Yeah, he's not the only one.
He's not the only one. I hate doing eBay, so I'm with him on that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it was funny because we have somebody who watches the show and you know chats with us and stuff, and he came up to me and said, Shane, and he said, do you know who I am? And I'm like, oh, you know, like put me right on the spot. And I'm like, you know how it is on Facebook. That's mostly where we communicate with everybody through Facebook. Yeah. And you know what? At least half the people have some nonsense random thing as their avatar.
You see avatars, or you see pictures from like 10 years ago,
or them with their families and their faces like 2 pixels big. So I'm like, and so the funny thing is, I didn't even tell you this story, guys. It was embarrassing for about 60 seconds because I had heard I was coming back to the hotel, and I had heard that Juan Carlos was on site. So I walk in, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna, I'm kind of, interested to meet him, and he's always commenting and watching the show, for better or worse. And so I walk up to the bar, and a couple of you guys are there, and somebody walks up and goes, Shane, you know who I am? And I'm like, but you don't have your glasses on. And he looks at me like I'm crazy, And where are your glasses? And he's like, what? And I'm like, oh, Juan Carlos, right? And he goes, no, who is that? So I'm like immediately like, oh, he doesn't even look like him, but I didn't know who else to guess. And so it was another friend, now friend of the show, but a viewer who came up to meet us and wanted to hang out, and we had a great time.
Who was it?
It was Jason Woods.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so yeah, I can see how you can get them confused.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We got to have Juan Carlos take his glasses off and then see if I'm even remotely close. But it was who I expected to walk in and see at the bar with Charles. Like, Charles messaged me, and Charles was there and walked away. And I'm like, is this him? I don't know.
No,
so anyway, it's funny.
I've always known with what Juan Carlos always looked like. Like I've always known. So when I saw him, I knew automatically. I just started laughing hysterical. I'm like, you're here? I'm like, I had no idea that you were coming. And, like in person, like I know he likes to say some remarks on our channel all the time, for better or for worse, like you said. But in person, he's actually one of the most nicest guys.
Yeah, he didn't say anything bad about Shane.
He was so cool to hang out with. He literally
said I look
had
like the janitor.
Yeah,
he did.
John's our janitor. Yeah.
He said, why is that janitor sitting with you? Like, he should be cleaning the hotel. Doesn't he have rooms to clean?
He brought in a whole box of figures and had me look through them, and action figure grader, John Rulo. We were looking through them and stuff. And it was just, that's the best part of the show for me.
Yeah. Well, it also, it reaffirms the time and effort that we put into the show a bit. And this is, it's a once a year trip that we make. We're not going to a half a dozen toy shows around the country. I mean, that would be great if we did, and we would maybe run into a couple people here and there and get to see each other more. But it is nice though.
Who goes to that many shows and like?
Oh yeah, who goes to that many toy shows and toy shops and?
Oh, Brandon does.
Yeah.
A life.
Yeah. So Brandon went to his 476th convention in Nashville and we're only in June now.
We're only in June.
Yeah. So anyway, great to see you guys.
In the teens. Definitely in the teens.
In the teens.
It was good. It was definitely good seeing everyone. It was the most fun I have ever had at a toy show. I'm not saying it was the best toy show itself. I'm saying it was the most fun I've ever had. Just hanging out with you guys, hanging out with everyone else that came by, going to John Rulo's house. Like, we
didn't have a table.
I was just laughing.
We didn't have a table, so it was fun.
That's true.
Yeah.
We
will never have a sales table again, I don't think.
No, and there were certain times over the weekend where I did miss having one. I'm not going to lie, I missed it, but it was only for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I wish I could have one for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
not for 10 hours a day. Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, and we don't have anything against that. Like, the vendors, seem to be, having a decent time and they were having some success. It seemed like, there's a difference there though. And we ran into other people who are collectors who were having a table for the first time themselves this year, like we did last year. And they were getting a taste of what's involved there. It's a lot of setup. It's a lot of work. It's a long day and all that. We've been through this kind of before, but it was great to be free to focus on the show. We were there obviously as press, and we covered as much of the show as we could. That was fun. It was really, really fun to get on the podcast stage, guys. Mm-hmm. Just simply for the fact of sitting next to you guys and doing the show, live. I wish we could do that every week.
I know.
Mm-hmm. I wish we had a radio show, a studio where we arrived, even if it was once a week and sat there in person and BS'd. That was probably my favorite part, is sitting there and doing the show live with you guys.
It didn't even feel like, it wasn't even like, I felt like maybe we would have, hiccuped in the beginning or whatever, because we've never done a show like that live with everybody there, but it was just like normal,
Well, we had Shane talking 75% of the time. So, we're good.
Yeah. I need somebody to like just like tie me up backstage, put duct tape over my mouth.
No, you had
guys a chance to talk
because John, John, Brandon, and Charles had, they weren't really talking much. So,
well, that was the most fun for me.
We also didn't have 5 mics, so it was a little hard.
Yeah,
that was a little hard.
Yeah. My kids loved when Charles was leaning into the mic, waiting to kiss John when he needed to like turn towards the mic and talk. John was looking at me. I was asking a question, and then John was going to have to turn the other way to talk into the shared mic. And Charles was there like something like that right next. It was so funny. My kids were dying. But that was my favorite part. But
see that part.
Yeah, you got to go back.
I saw that.
Charles is leaning over there waiting for John to turn around right into his face. The action figure grader, John Rula, friend of the show. He has been a friend of Chris's for a long time, a friend to us now, of course, for a while. The original supporter of this show, honestly. Out of somebody who has a YouTube channel himself, who has been in the hobby for a long time, who has serious cred as a figure, an action figure grader, literally, and collector of amazing bootlegs, 3 in the world. He's got one of them, things like that. Super, super sweet of him and his wife to open their house to us. Thank you very much for having us over there, hosting us while we were in your town. And
thank you, that was awesome.
And having some other friends in the hobby and YouTube friends and being welcoming to us, inviting a few friends that were down in Nashville at the same time as us. Amazing time at his house. So thank you so much for hosting us. That was awesome.
What did you guys think of his collection, since it was the first time each one of you guys have seen it? Like, what did you guys think when you saw it?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I will say this as a not as a dig, just as a first appearance. I walk in and I told the story on the live podcast. I walk in with Brandon. We're at the bottom of the stairs, and Chris is doing the shush because they're in the middle of a YouTube live. So that was fun. But I'm walking in kind of shell-shocked because we're in the middle of a show. But I honestly thought it was going to be bigger because of, kind of, I guess, what's hyped up in my head. So okay. But when I walked in and actually got close to everything, you're not talking about big items. You're talking about graded figures, small items. So when I actually got across the room to the wall, it's an amazing amount of stuff. A ton of amazing stuff. It's almost impossible to know what to look at. I had to go back up there. We were there, a second afternoon to visit, and I had to go up there, with a couple other guys just in quiet and just stare.
With a knapsack.
No, with a knapsack with cargo shorts. Yeah. No, I had to go there and just stare and get real close and scan along the rows because there was so much to look at. So I thought I was going to be walking into Rancho Obi-Wan in my head, like every inch was covered because I know he has a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool to see all those figures. I mean, I think I was most impressed by the taxidermy.
Yeah.
I was most impressed.
The severed animal heads all over.
Yeah, the stuffed tauntaun and the wampa that he had.
He had the whole wampa arm mounted to the wall.
I don't think I realized he was such an avid hunter.
Taxidermy grader, that's what they call him. His new channel.
Taxidermy grader.
New channel, yeah.
He doesn't eat meat, so that's kind of weird.
I don't think he hunts anymore. That was all old school stuff. He doesn't really do that anymore. John is way too old and lazy to leave that couch to do anything. He's not hiking and doing anything.
Oh, the best was every night, like multiple times a night, you were like whispering to everybody. It was like 6:45 p.m. and you're like, guys, John's gonna go put his pajamas on, I think, in a few minutes. Like he's getting ready to turn in. And I'm like, it's dinner time and he has a full house of 25 people. Like,
he doesn't care.
He's not going to bed. You're like, no, he's gonna disappear in a few minutes.
Yeah. He doesn't. So I've been friends with John for I don't even know, over 5 years now, probably. And we talk every single day. There hasn't been one day out of the last 5 years that we don't talk.
Yeah.
And That guy is in bed. I'm telling you, like 8 o'clock at night. He reads a book. Like he still reads a book every night before he goes to bed.
So lucky.
And 8 o'clock, and he wakes up at like 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning.
Yeah, he's gotten himself, it seems like, to a very disciplined part of his life, and that's I give him kudos because I can't do it.
He doesn't eat meat. He doesn't drink. Obviously, he just eats like leaves and like twigs and rocks
and
from the outside.
Yeah, twigs and berries. Yeah.
So
that was a lot of fun because you know what, John's hospitality afforded us a chance to seriously hang out with other people in the hobby that we know and have gotten to know, and not just be at a hotel bar and talk for 2 minutes. We got to really hang.
All these guys we always talk to and hang out with them on like a Star Wars level or a toy level. We were hanging out and talking with everyone, just like hanging out. Like, minus the toys. We were playing cornhole. We're playing poker. We're just drinking.
Yeah, we're missing old Charlie Beansacks.
Charlie Beansacks. So to just hang with people and just talk about nothing to do with the hobby, it was great.
Right. Well, speaking of, let me throw it over right now to our roving reporter. Charlie Beansacks is with us. Charlie, what was your favorite part of the trip? Let's hear what he has to say. All right, so great to hear from you, Charlie Beansacks. Thanks very much for jumping in from the remote location that you're currently at. So, guys, I got to tell you, cornhole. I have a set at my house. I'm halfway decent. Atrocious in Nashville is apparently how I play cornhole. Awful. Can't even hit the board. Embarrassing amongst the group of grown men.
It's the altitude.
It must be the altitude. So funny for me is Charles is amazing at cornhole. Chris is really, really good. Charles was the best player at the party. I mean, he was hitting 4 for 4s and 3 for 4s. So finally, I'm dying for a partner that can carry me because I can't do anything. Finally, Charles is standing there with nothing going on. And so I get him as a teammate. And he has the one bad game of the entire trip while I'm partnered with him. And I have the best game. And he just keeps going, you're carrying the team. You're amazing now. You're carrying the team. I'm like, yeah, but if you would just hit one, we would win. I had the worst luck.
Charles and I were actually together for a couple of games. And I kept on saying, I was like, it's not fair to have me and him together on the same team.
Yeah, you guys are really good.
I think we played 3 games. We crushed everyone. And we're like, we can't play the same team.
Well, I played the first game and it was like 11-0 after the first turn, and the next turn it's like 16-1 or something. And like something, I'm like, the game is over. Like this just should be a mercy rule. But I did win poker the first time I sat down at the table. I won the first poker game. That was cool. So
playing poker was definitely fun. Uncle Victor acted like he had no idea what he was doing. His first time ever playing, and then he wins all the money.
I could not figure out if you guys were joking or pulling my leg or being serious. Like I walked in and you guys were trying to describe that he's either like a shyster at poker or he's just like faking it or that he's an idiot at poker or I couldn't tell if what you guys were actually saying. Like you were talking about how he wouldn't shut up.
We still don't know.
Stealing people's money. And
we played poker with him one time, back home and he beat everybody. But he says that he has no idea what he's doing. It's his first time. But then Charles ends up digging up information about how he secretly plays with guys from work. And one of his avatars, like a picture, is of him playing poker. So it's like, I think it's all about him just being like a shyster.
Yeah, we still don't quite know, but he was the first game I sat down, he was very, very funny at the table, throwing chips around and. It was funny. Everybody was like, everybody wanted him to settle down. And then he made a run to the store. And then everybody complained the game was way too boring. So everybody missed him. John, what about you? I mean, you have to say your most favorite thing, but what's maybe a memory that you have from the weekend? We spent a lot of time together. We were pretty much together for 4 days straight, the 5 of us. And that was really fun. What did you, what jumps to your mind?
I think the best time though is just hanging with everybody else. Hanging with you guys. The convention itself was just kind of like an excuse to hang out with everybody, I think. But we only see each other once a year, and I think that was the best time. That was the best time. That was my favorite part of it. Yeah,
and we did a good like 3 breakfasts, right? We did Waffle House first
every morning. Yeah.
I don't know, guys. Waffle House might be out maybe we have to do it once just because, but
yeah.
So
Cracker Barrel was awesome.
Waffle House used to sponsor the show. Sorry, Waffle House, but you're out of here.
Yeah.
We're dropping Waffle House.
Cracker Barrel is in.
Yeah.
Chris left the Waffle House. He was smothered in grease.
Oh my God.
Drowning in grease and oil from Waffle House.
All of my elbows and everything.
He's not even kidding. The plates were covered with grease underneath.
Oh my God. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
And then we went to Cracker Barrel, and I had been to one only once in my life, and it was really bad. Like everybody at the table didn't like it.
What are you expecting though? Like
it was so good.
Are you expecting anything better from IHOP or Waffle House?
I'm expecting the grease, but I am expecting better quality food.
Well, people in the South are probably laughing at you right now.
Have you ever been to Waffle House before?
Yeah, in Nashville with you guys the last 3 years.
Yeah. Were you hammered?
No.
I think he was. He was chugging orange juice down last year. I remember.
Yeah, I don't know
Cracker Barrel is definitely different, though.
Cracker Barrel was really good.
It's a few dollars more, and the quality is just way better.
Yeah.
It's literally just a few dollars more too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheap, like compared to New Jersey, New York diners.
There's more food,
more food, and the food was just very good.
Yeah.
So here's something interesting. 99% of people watching the show do not care, but we're just talking. We go and Charles orders eggs over medium the first day. Now he's going to refute this, but I taught him eggs over medium last year or 2 years ago. Because we had a whole discussion about how runny the eggs are. So now he's an eggs over medium guy. The second day, I'm paying attention to this. He doesn't know this, but he orders eggs over easy the second day at a different restaurant. It's not even the same restaurant. And then the third day, he orders eggs over medium. So he's all over the place.
Charles is all over the place.
Then Kyle and Todd and Kyle, I don't even know who was sitting next to me. One of them.
They're both the same person.
I can't... They need like name, the name tags that Sam's makes. I need that every time I see those guys. So Kyle Todd was sitting next to me and he orders eggs over hard. Have you ever heard of this in your life?
I've never heard of that until this week or until last weekend. Never heard hard. No.
I want to hear in the comments, anybody watching this, have you ever heard of or ordered eggs over hard? So I say, what is that? He goes, it's so that nothing's runny. I'm like, why would you want that? He goes, I don't want runny yolks. And it's just this completely blasted fried egg, hard nugget of an egg. But breakfast was really fun. John throws up a camera and a microphone on the table.
Oh, God.
He's trying to do a 5 Idiots Talking Toys podcast at Cracker Barrel in the middle of Sunday brunch.
How'd that turn out in the end?
Well, it would have been great, but
you forgot to hit record?
The audio only picked up from my phone. It did not pick up from the microphone that was on the table.
Yeah. There were definitely some fun conversations, funny
Can
moments.
we also mention that one of the specials that we got for breakfast was a 3-egg special that came with a bunch of sides. So we asked the waitress of the 3 eggs if we can get an egg over easy, an egg over medium, and an egg over hard.
Or an egg scrambled. And she's like, you could do that.
Like if people actually do that. And she said that people actually do that. Like when I get 3 eggs, I get 3 eggs of the same kind, whether it's scrambled, over easy, whatever it is, I get them all the same. But she was saying that people will get all 3 different eggs.
You get them all 3 the same because you're a normal person.
Well, yeah.
Then she says people order literally 3 different cooked eggs, and somebody at the table was like, before she came over, can you order that? I'm like, yeah, if you want your eggs thrown on the floor in the kitchen and served to you off of the ground. They don't want to do that.
So funny.
But what do we order? The country boy? We were country boys?
Yeah. The country boy special.
Yeah, I ordered 3 eggs every day, and then I slid one of them on Chris's plate when he wasn't looking. Because it was too much food for me.
I already ate one of your eggs, too.
Yeah, Brandon ate one of your eggs.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Brandon. I threw one on his plate.
Because you're the last one. We're like paying and like ready to go, and you're still just sitting there eating your eggs.
Brandon's plate was completely clean, and I had like hash browns and 2 whole eggs left. So I threw an egg on there. He's like, I'm already done eating. I'm like, no, you're not.
Brandon has this like little trick where he puts it on the end of the mustache, right, and then he moves his mouth and it just slides right down his mouth.
Yeah,
it was so cool.
I also have this trick where I take a drink and it just goes like this, all down the shirt.
So how about this? So this is a toy podcast. Let's talk toys for a few minutes. It is.
I thought this was Breakfast with Martha Stewart.
Really, it's like Breakfast with the Idiots. Let's talk about room sales. I think we probably didn't get to as many room sales as we imagined we would, but we were just having so much fun.
All the floors.
Yeah,
we never made it to all the floors.
I know.
Partly because we were at Rula's for 2 of the nights.
Yeah. During
we
the
got back. We got back way too late.
I would say room sales felt like there was a lot more room sales this time around than in years past.
Correct. I only went to 2, I think 2 or 3.
Especially like Saturday night, like every floor there was multiple rooms.
Yeah.
I will
My God.
I will throw this out, and I heard other people say this, and it's not a knock, it just is the way that it is. I loved the hotel setup in the previous 2 years compared to this hotel.
Without a doubt, I don't even have a problem saying it. Yeah. I loved the old setup. I do not like the new setup.
I think what they need to do, I don't know if they'll do this or take feedback. I think what the convention needs to do in terms of the host hotels, listen, you can stay wherever you want, but obviously you want to stay with the bulk of the collectors if you're going to do room sales and stuff. I think they need to find a larger hotel. And if they need overflow, then they need other hotels. That's fine. But instead of 4 small hotels, they need to find a larger hotel that more people can stay in, that the bar area in that hotel is more of a scene at night, that there's live music at the hotel at night like there was in the like that whole vibe and scene was really special.
The problem with that, I mean, everybody loved that with the original hotel. I think that worked out the best. It grew a little larger than I think it needed to, but which is why it was at where it was at. And I think the transportation was an issue. The rooms were an issue. People, whatever. I just think that if you move it into a bigger hotel, and I heard there's bigger hotels downtown that have the convention center there and a hotel that's attached to it, all this stuff, same stuff that they have here in San Diego. The problem is that then the cost of renting that hotel and the convention area and all that stuff is like ridiculous amounts of money, like a lot more than the venue was at. Now I'm talking
I get it.
Upwards of $100,000 a day to rent a venue like that.
I think everyone gets it, but it was disappointing when we're hanging out at the hotel and I'm looking for like Mark Rosenberg or Fagan, because I had a couple questions to ask Thomas Fagan, and I find out that they're in another hotel hanging out somewhere else, and I'm just like, I want to hang out with those guys. Like, I wanted to talk to them. Yeah. And then I found out that there's room sales going on in different hotels and people are hanging out in different areas. It was nice being together and seeing everybody. Yeah. And even if it's just a simple hello and goodbye, because you see them every day on the groups, that's, most of the time that's really all you want or need. But it was just nice.
I mean, that was my favorite thing too, was seeing people and getting to talk to people that I don't know and that are fans of the show and putting faces to names and stuff like that. But I think we could have seen more if we were in a hotel that combined everything. So I think we lost out on that. But that was my favorite thing, and the other favorite thing was seeing Uncle Victor on the helicopter and taking that ride around with him as he's holding off for dear life and asking the pilot how many hours he had and if he had a license to fly the thing. And
you know what I was bummed out? I was bummed afterward because he gets off the helicopter and he comes over and he goes, "Are you going next?" And I'm like, I was like, I didn't even think about it. I was just walking over there because he was already going, and he's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, why didn't you, then later on, he's like, why didn't you go up? I'm like, you know what? I don't know. I would have had a great time. And he said, why didn't you come with us? I'm like, I don't know. You didn't invite me. So I should have, even if it was on my own, I should have jumped on, bought a ticket and jumped on after them. Like, I would have had a great time going up in the helicopter. I just don't know why I didn't.
Correct. If Brandon's not flying the helicopter, I'm staying off it.
Hey, you have no idea if he's a good pilot or not.
I don't, but he also has 20 years or whatever experience compared to 113 hours.
It's so true.
And he's sitting here with us tonight.
Yeah, he's still alive. Yeah. So listen, it seems like this is going to be the grounds, the fairgrounds where we were for the convention is probably going to be the location for the time, for the near future. Yeah. I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about anywhere in the area. I think I would, if I could, I would recommend finding a larger hotel, because listen, it's not like we're right next to the fairgrounds. We were 15 minutes away. So
at least
I wouldn't care if I was another 5 or 10 minutes further away if it meant we were in a big hotel and everybody was together. So that's what I would suggest. There was pros and cons I heard around from a lot of different people. Food at the hotel was not good. I know that was planned out, but it didn't seem like they really had a restaurant there. It seemed like
Victor was eating
a makeshift thing.
And I was very
about the hot dogs.
I was very shocked by that too, because it was sometimes you always hear that food's not good here or food's not good there. It was said by pretty much every single person I came in contact with, do not get the food. And when you hear that, you're amazed by that.
The other hotel had a restaurant that was located at the hotel, so this one's kind of it wasn't really a restaurant. It was
kind of like a food truck built in the hotel.
It was tables.
I think they had a kitchen and an ability to make some food, but it seemed like it was kind of a special thing for.
It was
took over the hotel.
It was bar food, basically.
Yeah, there was only 6 things on the menu, and we didn't get good reports. So there was a lot of people ordering Uber Eats and stuff, and that's fine. The drinks were really expensive. I went and got a cocktail. I'm talking a gin and tonic kind of cocktail. And between multiple layers of taxes and tip, it was $19 for a gin and tonic in a cocktail cup this big. So, I know. So listen, that's going to happen when you go to large conventions and you're in the host hotels. But there's going to be ups and downs like that. There was a lot of things that I liked, a lot of things that were fun. So those are some of the thoughts that we had. Now, room sales, we were just barely getting into room sales. A lot of good mix of modern stuff I saw, vintage stuff.
Wait. Are we done with breakfast?
I think so.
Okay.
Did you want to talk about the sausage or the bacon at all, or
no? The bacon was really good, and the fact that Charles said that they were going to give us 2 little tiny pieces of bacon, and they showed.
They're going to give us 2 pieces of bacon. They're this wide and this long.
Oh, he had so much egg on his face after that.
I'm telling you.
He's like, don't order the bacon. Don't order it. And we're like, what? Why?
You're making a mistake.
You're gonna get none. You're gonna get none. Big mistake. Huge mistake.
He went one time to Cracker Barrel, and one time, they gypped him. I've been there multiple times, in Lancaster. Let me tell you, they give you a full plate of food.
We all ordered bacon, even though he was yelling at all of us. And she came over and put a platter of bacon in front of every person at the table. And Charles wanted to die. He almost fell off his chair. He was like, I don't know what they're doing here. It's different.
Correct.
So back to room sales. Yes, they had a large variety of modern and vintage. It seemed like a lot of the people were very happy with sales, the way that they did. I know Adam Chitwood had an amazing room sale. I don't know if you guys saw his setup. He had accessories galore. Huh?
He was closed when we went up.
We were banging on his door at 2:45 a.m.
Well, I went there. Man. I went there the last night he got back. He only closed for one night. He was there for 2 nights.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was closed.
So I was there Thursday night, I want to say, or Saturday night.
Me and Shane went the same night that you went up there, and he was closed.
Well, Brandon, we went super, super late.
And he was probably sleeping with his, with his son and dog in the room.
It was literally almost 3 a.m.
I'm saying he was closed. I mean, I'm up all night trying to buy toys, and he's asleep.
I know he did very well. I went into other rooms, spoke to other people. They all did very well. Oh. So that's always like a good thing to hear for the hobby, that stuff is selling.
Brandon was drinking whiskey on the rocks, and he needed to buy a Gamorrean guard axe at 3:00 in the morning so bad. And Shitwood had the door bolted.
The only axe.
Yeah, he had right, exactly.
It was the only axe in town.
So, room sale. We only hit
a whole lot at room sales though.
We only hit a few room sales, but we got good reports. We heard there was a lot of stuff. We heard people were doing well. You're always going to get a mix of people. Obviously, the vendors too at the show. You're going to get a mix of people who are kind of a little bit high on the price, and they kind of stand their ground a bit. And you have other people you can just tell are there to move stuff. Like their prices are, 5 to 10% lower than average, at least, because they want to move stuff. They're there to sell and make money. And it's like, do you want to sell 90 items on the high side, or do you want to sell 300 items 5 or 10% lower than everybody else? You're going to do better selling a lot more stuff. So we saw a good mix of that. What did you guys think about the prices? Like a little bit of a market update. What did you see about the prices in person at a toy show?
Honestly, the prices seemed, good. I know Ryan had a nice big booth. I thought his prices were actually great on a lot of the items. I was like, wow, these are really good prices. Like,
yeah, I saw quite a few. He had a lot of mocks there, and I saw quite a few mocks that we were in the middle of literally recording, and we had to go to the podcast stage. And you saw me. I had like 4 mocks in my hand, and I was like, I'm not going to make us late. I'll come back after, and I didn't, come back fast enough. He had mocks that had like shave pops and stuff. Really nice cards though, and they were priced to fly off the table. I mean, I'm talking $80, $90.
The same card was there on Sunday. You didn't buy it.
Oh, I didn't.
No.
All right. Well, but I did look on Sunday. Most of what I had in my hands was gone.
The Dengar you were talking about, it was still there.
He even said
the Leia was gone. The other ones I had were gone.
He said that he had so much stuff and that he priced things to move.
Yeah.
And it's true. When you're taking the time to like set up the work and put everything out and stand there all day, just like you just said, you want to sell things. So you should price them a little bit lower and hopefully sell out as much as you possibly can. You don't want to take this all back home with you.
No, and you're driving a truck full of stuff from God knows where, hours and hours away. And you know what? These guys who have been doing these toy shows for a long time, they know the ins and outs. That the word spreads. You're in there in a vendor hall with 100 tables or whatever it is. If you're the guy with like good stuff and fair prices, that word is going to spread around that room like wildfire, and you're going to sell even more stuff. You're going to.
So just like you're saying, there's a guy. It's actually 2 guys. They had 4 tables, and after the first day, they realized that vintage wasn't doing so well, and that modern was. And they bring basically a little bit of both. So by the second day, they started emptying off the vintage. And they put out modern, and the modern was flying off the table and the shelf. Yeah. And like you said, the last day, like they sold out. He said it was one of the best shows they've ever had selling modern.
Yeah, and he said we have stuff in a warehouse or storage, whatever, back home. He goes, if I knew this and I brought all the stuff that I had, he's like, I would have sold triple of what I've sold because I have so much more modern.
It's the shift in the people and who's buying
generations.
Yeah.
The age range.
Same thing when at Celebration. I have a friend that has a booth there, and I stopped by to see him, and I was like, "How's it going?" He's like, "Dude, all this episode 1 garbage that I couldn't get rid of a couple years ago." He's like, "I can't keep it in stock. People are buying the hell out of my Power of the Force with the Darth Maul face on it and and all the episode 1 garbage that I couldn't get rid of, and now people are just fighting over it." I was like, "Oh my god!"
It's getting to be that 25-year mark now, almost with Phantom Menace, and it's like, that was like us as kids in the early 80s.
God, who would raise their kids to watch those movies?
It's so.
Well, it was funny because
I know that's going to happen here. I'm waiting for it.
Yeah,
I want Jar Jar Binks.
Oh,
Brandon and I went to the main stage and saw the tail end of Rebels up on stage, and then we saw Ian McDiarmid, the Emperor, on stage, and so that was fun to hear him talk. We've heard him talk, and we've seen some interviews in the past. But he said, was able to get on mic and ask him a question, and part of his answer to me directly, to my question, was talking about the generational difference. And he was one of the very few people involved with Star Wars that was involved in all three trilogies. You're talking about Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, and you're talking about, maybe some behind the scenes people. I mean, I can't even think of anybody else who was in all three trilogies besides C-3PO and the Emperor. But he said it's really interesting. When he was doing the early movies, he said George Lucas said to him at some point, with the prequels, when he came back and George Lucas did those, he said at some point there's going to be a generation of people who say the original trilogy is the best, and at some point that is going to shift to the next generation, and they're going to swear that the prequel trilogy is the best. Now, if you're, our age, you laugh at that because you're like, there's no way the prequel trilogy is even close to but there are a lot of people that think that now, that it's true.
I think the best part was when you asked the Emperor the question, and Shane sends us the clip where he goes, guys, here's the interview of me asking the Emperor a question. And we're like, send us the clip. It starts at 42 minutes. That's when Shane's question started. I had to fast forward this thing about 10 minutes. I get up to like the 50-minute mark, and Shane is still talking, still asking the question. I had to give up. I actually just X'd out of it, and I go.
I saw the Emperor age 4 more years while Shane was
he actually died, and they cloned him in the middle of my question to bring.
Do you
him
know
back?
those questions that have it's a main question, but then there's 19 different parts to that question? Like that was Shane's question.
Well, the funniest part of that is I was going to lean over to Brandon. He was next to me, and I was going to go, how stupid would it be if I mentioned the name of our podcast like I'm a reporter asking the question? And I thought to myself, I don't know what his answer would be, but I'm just going to do it. I don't even want to know what his answer is.
He did do it.
Yeah. So I stood up. I'm like,
I am Shane from
Hi, sir. Shane from 5 Idiots Talking Toys podcast. And he just has this look on his face of like, where did my life go wrong?
Talking toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, I just like quickly went right to the next part.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, but if you go look at the main stage Ian McDiarmid session, you're going to hear my stupid voice going, Shane from 5 Idiots Talking Toys podcast. Big fan. I have a question for you.
Huge. Big fan.
Huge fan.
I threw big fan out there like Stuttering John used to do to distract him, because he was going to ask an asinine question. So we go, big fan.
Love Stuttering John.
But I shared that clip with some casual Star Wars friends of mine, like my personal friends, and they were like, that was awesome. And I'm like, yeah, well, I talked way too long. I couldn't shut up. And they're like, no, you asked a really good question though, and he had a great answer. You gave him like a whole thing to talk about. I'm like,
they were just being nice to you.
Yeah, they're being nice. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they're just being nice.
So that was fun though. I was glad to throw our stupid show name out into a live main stage panel.
Here's the best part is that now we're going home Sunday night, and we're actually at the terminal, and we just said goodbye to Shane. Charles and I just said goodbye to Brandon. We're walking to our terminal, and then we just see the Emperor, Ian McDiarmid, just walking around by himself. Just casually, all by himself, walking around. And I was like so tempted to go up to him and like talk to him, say hello. I don't know, something, but I just felt bad.
Yeah.
Where's this? Where was his
Special Forces?
Special Forces security.
He had nobody with him. He was completely by himself walking around.
Some old guy that
asked him for an autograph, and he's like, that'll be $130.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to tell you, one of the most shocking parts of the convention for me was walking into the autograph room and see, and this is not a knock. I just think it was like the moment that I walked in because he had a lot of fans there. But seeing like 3 people at that moment in line for the Emperor, and looking to the left and seeing the Rebels all in a row, you know, the 4 Rebel voice actors, or 4 or 5, I'm sorry, like 20 to 30 people for every one and them in line, and I was just like,
that tells you the generational shift. That tells you the generational shift right there. I mean, me and you were the only ones sitting there. You know, I mean, how long did Ian McDermott talk to me at the table for a good like 5 minutes about his makeup and all that stuff, and there was nobody behind me. You know, that a celebration that would never happen, but because I got his autograph at Celebration as well, and it was like, all right, next.
Yeah,
you know, you couldn't even ask him anything. But this was
Vincent D'Onofrio was sitting there playing that pegboard game from the golf peg game
from Cracker Barrel.
From Cracker Barrel.
Yeah, I walked in at moments where the lines were ebbing and flowing, you know, at different times over the weekend, but. Yeah, I'll tell you, if you're an autograph hound, if you love getting, you know, the celebrity, the sci-fi guys' autographs, it is a great show for that. You know, they had the whole process moving really zippy this year compared to, you know, the long lines and small rooms in the past. So.
Well, I mean, the same thing happened last year. I was able to have a conversation with you know, General Veers for a good 10, 15 minutes, and you know, Julian Glover, for those of you who don't know, Charles.
Who's that?
What's that?
Who's that?
Anyway, but that's another thing that I like about the show is the intimacy that you get with the people signing autographs, and you know.
Well, you're a huge autograph whore. You really are. Like, we're all hanging out, and every single time I would turn around, Brandon is just gone.
He's got boxes and boxes full of toys that he flew from San Diego to have these people sign. These poor people, he's got to direct them on what panel on the toy to sign, what angle to write it at, you know, what color.
Give me a break.
You know the image of little kids on Christmas morning,
Shane
and they have their
now an autograph.
Gifts.
Shane is now an autograph collector.
And like the kids are going around from like gift to gift. Like that was Brandon there. I'd be talking to him. I would turn around. He's freaking gone. He's down there hugging Max Rebo.
and you know what? I really like the part of just, you know, saying hello to these people, and they're, you know, some people are happier to be there than others, but the people Shane I spoke to were really sweet. Huh?
You dipped your toe in the autograph scene.
I did. I got some autographs for my kids. You know, I'll enjoy them with them for years to come. And the people I talked to were really sweet, really, really nice and pleasant and very friendly. So that was fun. All right, guys, should we throw it over to Charles for any final words that he has? Let's go to our roving reporter, Charlie Beansacks.
All right.
Charlie Beansacks.
Beansacks, what say you about your experience this past weekend, or a couple weeks ago now, but in Nashville, Tennessee?
Beanbags. Let's go, Beanbags. Give it up.
All right, folks, and that was Charlie Bean Satchels. He was down in Nashville, and those are the thoughts he has. Thanks very much for joining us for this segment.
Bean Satchels.
It's a satchel. Indiana Jones carried one.
Keep my Skittles in there.
What else are we missing? I mean, we had fun like everywhere we went. Last year we ended up at Home Depot and had fun.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't do Home Depot this year. We did Bed Bath & Beyond.
But I felt like last year compared to this year, because we were selling, we didn't like hang out a lot together because we were behind that table. So like breakfast in the morning, we didn't have any breakfast together. Maybe like the 3 of you guys did, but Charles and I would just be by ourselves, I felt like. And then like we didn't do many dinners. Like we had dinner together every night. We had a breakfast together every day. It was, you know, that part was good.
Yeah. And we shared this previously, not to keep dropping it, but if you want to get a sense for what the convention is like and talking to these people, they really are friendly, nice. We ended up having lunch with Deborah Ann Wall from True Blood and Daredevil. I mean, we had met her in the morning, taken the shuttle over with her, the private shuttle, and she saw us eating lunch and came over and asked if she could join us for lunch. It was just
Shane
fun.
was talking her ear off in the bus on the way there.
Sure was. You were sitting in the back with Uncle Victor. Sorry to hear that.
So I would much rather be Shane.
I just landed in the good seat next to John.
Uncle Victor wasn't in the van; he was in his 2-seater.
Oh, true. That's right. Yeah. So it is fun. These people were friendly. It's nice to see them walking around and bump into people people you're fans of. It's a great experience.
Yeah.
Anything else, guys? What are we forgetting? Anything? I don't know. No, it was just.
I'll actually tell you a quick, funny little story. Yeah. So I sold an item on Rogue 5 just the other day, and it was a guy that I haven't really spoken to before. He's never bought anything from me. So after I gave him my PayPal and he paid and everything like that, he was like, "Oh man," he goes, "I missed you guys at Nashville." He goes, "I was really trying to make the room sale the one night." He goes, but he's like, but I missed it. I couldn't make it in time. And I'm like, "You were in Nashville?" And he's like, "Yeah, I was there. I was there the whole weekend." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't know." Because like I said, this is the first time I've ever spoken to this guy who sold an item.
Yeah.
He's like, "Yeah, I heard you guys had a room sale. I saw the sign. It said 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. I go, "Wow, these guys are nuts. They're selling till 3 o'clock in the morning." I had to explain to him that the signs were hung up as a joke, that we weren't really selling till 3 o'clock in the morning.
The funny thing is the night that he put those up, we were down by the bar until like 2:45 in the morning. We were up in the room for a little bit, but we had fun.
Shane was buying beaters out of a suitcase at 3 in the morning that night.
I know. Somebody opened up 2 carry-on pieces of luggage in the middle of the lobby bar and had bags and bags and bags of figures, and everybody dove on them like seagulls at the beach on a French fry, picking through this guy's suitcases trying to find. I don't know about San Diego, but Chris knows what I'm talking about.
I know. It was a great description.
You throw a French fry in the tri-state area beaches. Forget it.
Yeah, 37 seagulls flying down.
You should have seen the people dive bombing on these suitcases trying to find beaters. But John bought new sneakers at Dick's. We forgot to mention that.
Oh, did he?
He was 1 3/4 hours into this excursion and already decided he needed new shoes.
Oh, God.
My feet were killing me.
That's when you know that you're old.
Yeah, he gets there and we're like, "John, so good to see you." He's like, "Is there a Dick's in the area?" We're like, "What?" He's like, "I got to go buy sneakers. I'll see you later."
Shane's like, "I got my Dick Foes."
Yeah, Dick Foes in the area. I don't know about that, about the sneaker store. So there were some fun moments like that, making fun of each other the whole time and laughing. And if anybody didn't see, anybody who's watching this didn't see yet, the short that we have on our YouTube channel of John's car. Oh God, we go to get in the car, the handle just falls off the door.
Oh my God.
I mean, that was one of the best moments of the whole weekend. The door handle just rips off.
You guys were crying, laughing, and I was in panic mode because I forgot my phone in Cracker Barrel. So I was just worried about actually getting my phone because I didn't want to be without a phone the whole weekend.
Yeah. I had to reenact it on the short. That was a reenactment. I'm sure you could tell, but Chris ripped the handle right off the car. And we're in the back seat laughing. He's just standing there with the handle in his hand.
Oh God! I literally went like this, and I'm just holding it in my hand. I go,
"Oh, we were dying. We were dying." And John was missing a mirror on the other side, and we're like, "Now we're balanced out."
Yeah, now the car is balanced.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. I think we rehashed some fun memories. It was a great trip. The best part was, just kind of just socializing with everybody, hanging, talking toys, talking life, and getting to spend that time with people that we communicate with through on our phones all the time. Guys, a fun rehashing of recent memories. Can't wait to the next chance to get together again. Great to see you guys. everybody who's watching, we thank you so much for joining us here on our YouTube channel, 5 Idiots Talking Toys. You can follow us on all of our various socials for different content and reels and shorts and all that stuff. But please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come back every Wednesday and Sunday for new episodes. And we will always see you here on YouTube or your favorite podcast app for 5 Idiots Talking Toys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.